welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another week of the Cheaper Than Therapy Show podcast. I am Roland Kirsten, your host, aka Ro Nice, and again in studio we got Jordan Weaver, aka Breezy. Um, I do want to start off by apologizing. Show was a little bit long last week. It was just real raw chemistry coming into play. Like I said, it's my brother, and we just were having a conversation and got recorded. So we're definitely going to do our best to keep things a lot shorter this week because I know it's hard to keep people's attention span. So we're going to dive right into everything already, and we're going to start with a recap and some fact checking of some things we talked about last week. And I'm going to let Jordan start out with the fact checking when it comes to South Carolina State. So, Jordan, give us that breakdown of what you found out on South Carolina State.
Thank you so much, Roland. So what we did find out through our email address, and thank you for those who have been chiming in, responding, fact-checking us. We do appreciate all of that from you all. Is that South Carolina State University was officially established back in 1896 through a land grant from Claflin University. So that was one of our fact checks. The other fact check was going to be, no, I apologize, not the fact check. Next, we're going to do it was the Sassy Man list. We actually did get the Sassy Man list, and it's quite sassy. So I can't say that. Number one, this thing says, here is 10 zesty/sassy things men do. Number one, blocking a woman. Number two, wanting to be chased by a woman, or using wanting to be chased by a woman is number two. Number three is using a woman or women's lingo. It's giving, period, with a T, I guess, etc. Number four was asking a woman for money or 50-50 on a bill. Number five is saying that men are the prize. Six, arguing back and forth with a woman. Seven, treating homeboys better than girlfriends / wives. Number eight, talking down on women on podcasts. Number nine, asking what do you bring to the table. And number 10, trying to tell women how to dress or how to act or how to live their lives. So, real nice. I'm just going to be perfectly honest, and I'm going to turn it over to you. I would not be considered zesty or sassy. I don't qualify on none of these that I can think of. What about yourself?
I mean, the thing about that is, some of these things I agree with, some of these things I do disagree with. I'm looking at, to point out a couple. I do agree, wanting to be chased by a woman. I mean, that's subjective to what you mean chase. I do want a woman to show a little interest and put forth a little effort, but, chase is a whole nother word. Using women lingo, I agree. We as men, we have our own way we talk, our style, what were the things we like to say to get our points across. Blocking a woman, I mean, that's also to me a little bit subjective, because sometimes you got to block a crazy female because there was a story I saw. A woman got arrested for sending 196,000 texts to a man after her first date. So if that don't qualify as a reason to block a woman, I don't know what does. There's 200,000 texts. So that's subjective. Now, asking a woman for money or 50-50 on the bills. That one's a tough one because, like I've talked about before, and Jody Breezy, just chime in whenever you feel. In this economy and in this world, sometimes it takes two incomes to ascend, to get to where you want to be as a couple and want to get to be as people. Asking a woman for money is a tough one. You shouldn't outright have to ask a woman for money, but if you are the man, you supposed to lay down that groundwork to show, hey, you bring this, I brought this. You know, especially living in South Carolina, it's not a lot of jobs when you're making $150,000, $200,000 a year. So sometimes it does take a woman bringing a little something to the table. But I feel like if you're dealing with a right-minded woman, you shouldn't have to ask. It should be implied, and it should be something that she want to do. You know, outside of you having to ask. Saying men are the prize. I don't think I talked about that in one of the episodes before. Not saying men are the prize, but I want women to understand that men are a prize. You know, we are worth something, and society wants to make it think that women are the only prize in a relationship, but men are prize. Like good men, good, solid, strong, educated, hardworking men, you know, like what they call high value men. I feel like that should be considered a prize, not necessarily the prize, but a prize.
I mean, I feel you on that one, Roland. Now is you know, as far as that you know, to me, that is subjective to me because I don't necessarily have to feel that way. I mean, well, you don't have to tell me, show me.
Exactly.
Clean clothes, hot meals. I'm not telling you to be, you know, Alice from the Brady Bunch, but you know, just as we've grown, you know what, you know, makes my life simple, you know, easier. I know what makes your life easier. Just like you said, like with the 50-50. Any woman that understands, and any male as well. Like, I mean, for instance, I try to put myself in a living accommodation where I can provide a good, you know, lifestyle for my wife, and you know, also we're able to live. Like, I don't do car payments. You know me, everything that I buy and everything that I use is used as far as transportation, because it's not that part of the materialistic part is not big on me. So like anything that my wife wants outside of what I provide for her, she's duly entitled to do it. And she does it. And she doesn't ask me. And she doesn't have to seek permission. And I don't want to seek notification because I can make sure that you want to dress a certain way to a certain extent. Live a certain way to a certain extent. Drive a certain way to a certain extent. Like, I'll just be perfectly honest with you. My wife has 2 car payments. I don't pay any of them.
And
but beforehand, you know, she wasn't paying any rent, mortgage, phone bills, like bare necessities. Like our credit card, I pay that. Her credit card, I don't even know what the rate is on it. I don't know what the limit is on it. I don't care to ask because I know she can handle her own. But like I said, it's as far as the 50-50 on the bill, in this day of society, like you stated, we all know that nothing's cheap. Hell, eggs are what? $7, $6
for a carton. I love brown eggs.
You see what I'm
That's
saying?
$6 a carton.
Milk is high, everything's high, but you know, that's subjective. But the being the prize, I would say, you know, show me. I don't want you to tell me. And actually, you don't have to go out of your way to show me. I know when I come home to a clean house and hot meals that I am the prize, because I have seen people who don't know what it is to have a hot home cooked meal. What they don't know is they don't know what fabric softener feels like against the skin. Like what it's like to get into clean sheets. Like they don't know what it's like to walk on a clean floor. Like, so yeah, as far as that, yeah, like that, show me. I don't have to, but I don't have to be shown. Just your day-to-day operation are what shows me that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't need to be verbally told that I'm special in your life. Your actions will dictate that based on what I'm doing. So that's why I said saying that we are the prize, because there's a difference between the prize and a prize. The prize means that's a selfish connotation that we're the most important thing in this universe. A prize means that, hey, appreciate me the same way I appreciate you. Now, number 6, arguing back and forth with the woman. Now, I agree. I and certain my friends and family to testify, I done had a woman argue with me for an entire hour straight. Just argue, just fussing and just going in ham for an entire hour straight without catching a breath. And I just sat there and looked straight and kept it like I didn't pretend to know it was happening, because I can't go back and forth with a woman. I don't know any man that would want to go back and forth with a woman, because it only leads to destruction.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. As far, I'm not even drawing a line in the sand on that, because that's not going to happen. I'm just back and forth. I say what I have to say. You say what you have to say. If you want to keep going on, that's totally understandable. But I'm not going back and forth.
Yeah, if I get my biggest thing is I'm gonna get my point across. You gonna hear what I got to say. I'm gonna get my point across. Make it firm. Make it adamant. And if you don't accept it after that, you're gonna turn into Charlie Brown parent adult talk. That wah 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 wah. That's what you're gonna turn into. Because I'm not going back and forth. Because that's mental insanity in my book, going back and forth with a woman. Because men are simple, women are complex. That's mental insanity, going back and forth with a woman. All right? So we're not going to do that. So number 7 is treating your homeboys better than your girlfriend or wife. Now, I personally don't know anybody that has ever done that. Now, I know there are men out there that do that. But I don't even know what that is. Like, how do you do that? And if you do that, there's other questions that may need to be asked that you may not want to be asked about. Why is he treating his homeboys better than he treating you? To be honest.
Yeah, this is someone bitter or sassy who made this list. I don't even think a woman made this list. I'm just being perfectly honest with you. This is how would I wouldn't treating my homeboys better than a woman, period. So, that's,
Who does that?
Who does that?
Who raised you?
Yeah, who raised you?
In the words of T.K. Kirkland, who raised you? So that I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that, because I don't understand that. Yeah. Because my thing is, I got to lay with you every night. So treating a man better than my woman, that don't make sense. Talking down on women on podcasts. Now, I don't think I watch a lot of podcasts, relationship podcasts, talking about women's wants, needs, emotions, whatever. Now, most people want to touch base on that one when it comes to Kevin Samuels, God rest his soul. I don't think Kevin talked down a woman on podcast. I think he just said what everybody is thinking, including women, and nobody was ready to handle that truth. Because even he told it, majority of his audience was female. So what is talking down on a woman? Like, there's ways to disrespect a woman and degrade a woman. I do agree that is something that can be done, but just sometimes just speaking facts about the things that women may say, do, whatever, it's not necessarily talking down on them or talking bad on them. It's just spitting facts. So I don't know what that is. Do you know what that is, Breezy? Like talking down on a woman?
I guess they would mean, or whoever made this list would mean, just bashing, verbal abuse, just, female dog, garden tool, you're sorry, everything but a child of God. I'm guessing that's what that would mean. I've seen those situations before. I don't agree with those. Just there's a fine line which they would tip you to on. Kevin Samuels he was a person who had a show. He gave his opinion, and whether you agree with it or not, you took the chance and the time to listen. I listened to a lot of his stuff. I've never heard him call. I've heard him call a woman fat. I never heard him call her a fat female dog or a fat gardening tool. Like, his opinion. He had the right to say a million things, but he didn't, in my eye, he never, just bashed women. Now, he did go back and forth with a lot of women. That's one thing, if we're looking at this perfectly honest, but to each his own. Like he said, a lot of his listeners were women. You want to know why they were listening? Because they failed to know how to either attract or obtain or keep the opposite sex. So at that point, when you come ask me for my help, you have to listen to my opinion. I didn't come and ask you, did you need help? Kevin Samuel had a podcast telling women what it is that men really wanted or what their views were. And he had more female followers and listeners and subscribers than males.
True.
Because the women were the only people arguing with him.
Facts. And he also went in on men on about the things we were lacking and wasn't doing right. So
yeah, I remember one time, Roland, he went in on men from something about properly wiping his ass.
Yeah, when he talked about men, it's 2022. Let's do away with the toilet tissue and start using wipes. And I'm gonna attest to that. I've been using wipes for quite some time now. Even before he ever talked about that. Probably about the last 10 years I've been using wipes. Now I know that's a bit personal, so we're not even gonna dig into that.
Well, hold up, Roland. I mean, it ain't like you was laying on your back, putting your legs in your head, getting your damn ass clean. You were using wipes.
But I mean,
what's wrong with using wipes? You don't have to defend that.
Nothing. It's just that's extra personal. Maybe some people don't want to picture me.
You don't have to picture.
I mean, people.
They should picture them going to the hospital before they have to go home with skid marks in their drawer. My mom used to always tell us, Roland, hey man, whatever you do, even if you don't wash that ass, go put on some clean drawers. Because you got a 50-50 chance of making it to the hospital with them clean than them not clean when I know you walk out the house.
That was it. When you walk out the house, put on clean drawers. Because if you get in an accident, you not want to see EMS and paramedics, see Skid Row going on.
I'm telling you.
But sometimes, like, just a quick thing on that, talking down to women. Tupac had a wonderful song called Wonder Why They Call You B. That song, he got a lot of flack for that song about, he being disrespectful and degraded women. But at the end of the song, if you listen to Tupac where he said, I don't consider all women B's. He said, these are the women that I come across in my day-to-day that I have to deal with. He said, and this is why we call these certain women B's. So when you talk about talking down on a woman on a podcast, sometimes we're talking about, not all women, we try not to generalize. We're talking about women that we have interaction with. And sometimes we have to take accountability as men as far as why we interacting with this type of woman. But moving on to number 9. Asking women, what do you bring to the table? I think that's a valid question. Because if all you got to bring to me is your box, we got a problem.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't bring to me intellectual conversation, you can't bring to me some additional financial stability, if you can't bring to me, like I said, clean house, hot cooked meal, not saying that got to be your day-to-day role or your everything, the only thing you do, but you got to bring something more than your box to the table. Unfortunately, that's just my opinion. What do you think, Breezy?
Yeah, of course, for me, I'm speaking on myself. Of course, I mean, you can get that anywhere. I'm just saying, like, back in the days before I got married, that's nothing special. Like, you can go buy that. So, not promoting it or anything. It's just, you have to bring, for me, you have to bring a little bit more. But I'm not going to ask you. I'll be able to pick up on what I know you're going to bring to the table. If I meet you and you're working a job or two jobs, or you work and you hustle, or you hustle, you do hair, you run your own business, whatever, I can tell if you have that hustle in you. And I can tell if I met you and within 3 days you're asking me for, I won't even say a handout, but a loan. If you ask me for a loan within that amount of time, I can pick up on that and I can eliminate you myself. I don't have to sit down with you on a first date and ask you what you bring to the table, because that's not going to be the same 6 days, 6 years from now. So that's to me, yeah. I mean, you want to know what they bring to the table, but for instance, Roland, when you go on a job interview, do you tell them the truth?
Not 100% true.
Do you tell them that, hey, I do want to get paid the most amount of money to do the least amount of work?
No, I would not dare tell them that.
Exactly. So why would they dare tell you the truth? Of course, whatever you tell them, they perceive that all men all men want the same thing. A man who never grew up in a clean house doesn't care about a clean house.
Agreed.
So I mean, it's just like that. That's another one. It's you can walk a fine line with that one as well. But I to find it sassy.
I mean, why is it sassy if it's okay for women to have expectations and wants and needs, why is it sassy for men?
Because that's society. You can't, you as a man, especially as a black man, Roller, you can't do what a...
Sorry about that, guys. We had a little bit technical issue. So picking back up, Jordan was like, that was part of society, and I can't do what women do when it comes to certain programs, things of that nature, which I totally understand. But we want to know what you guys, we want more than just your box. And I know that's a horrible word to use, but we want a lot more. But that's neither here nor there. Now, number 10 is trying to tell women how to dress, how to act, or how to live their lives. Now, when it comes to women's dress, that's twofold. Now, I'm not going to dictate on a woman on what she can and can't wear, but I also want women to be cognizant of that what you wear out in public is a reflection of me and our relationship. So if you're out there wearing super, super, super revealing clothes, that means one of two things. You don't give a F about me. I don't have any control in this relationship. And you're trying to broadcast what's mine and quote unquote what's mine to someone else. So it's not how to act. It's not control. It's like if you go out with your titties and your ass out and you with me, yes, now I can't lie, say I don't like for my woman to dress a little sexy when we out. That's totally fair. But if we out and at the bottom of your dress, your butt cheeks out or half your nipple is out, then we got a problem. We got a serious problem, regardless of whether you with me or not. And we out in public, we got a problem about your overall look. Now, we're going to address it one time, and you got a decision to make whether you're going to continue to dress this way or you're going to respect it. Now, if you're going to continue to dress this way, then 9 times out of 10, you and I are going to come to an end. But if you respect me and respect our relationship and respect our love, it's going to change. What do you think?
Just being answering for myself, that I'm not going to tell a woman how to dress. I don't dress myself. My wife dresses me, so I'm not going to tell her how to dress. From the very first time that it ever happened, and I'm not saying that it happened with me and my wife, but there have been situations where things have happened and I didn't allow it to linger on. I checked it. And if I tell you, hey, I don't like that, and it's that much of a detriment to you for you not to understand that, then that's something that we'll deal with on another level, because I'm pretty sure there'll be something that I do that you don't approve of, and I can respect you enough to say, hey, I'm not going to do that. Or I can say, hey, well, I feel comfortable doing it. So that's an eye of the beholder. Now, how to act, I mean, as far as like, not how to act, but, how, just dressing provocative. I see people, on the other side, real nice. They don't care. They want their significant others to dress like that. They feel a certain way when other people lust for the women, and that's the right to feel that way is just, in my opinion.
And that's cool that if you want your woman to dress provocative on a constant basis and you're comfortable with that, not saying different strokes for different folks. I'm speaking, but this zesty sassy list is so generalized. It's like not all men tell their women how to dress, how to act, and how to live their lives. Some men let their women do whatever they want to do, and that's cool, But I look at it from the standpoint of, like they say for women, leave something to the imagination, And when you out with me now I don't have a problem defending your honor if something goes left, but there's consequences that we should have never have to face if you would have toned it down a little bit.
Well, I don't care if my wife is butt ass naked. If somebody disrespect her around me, I just have to do 20 years.
And that's fine. But realistically, you got women that know the consequences and still do it anyway. Like, but then if you're doing 20 years, and I'm not saying you and your wife, but Joe Schmo on the street doing 20 years because he had to defend his woman in public because of the way she dressed. Now the question comes is, what's going to happen in them 20 years? While he locked up, she getting pounded by Jody.
He should know better, because the only reason why she's dressing that way, if she's choosing to dress that way, is because she desires attention from someone else. And that's another issue for another show. Attention is a hell of a drug. Some people, they gotta have it. Some people, when they walk in, no matter how crude or nasty or slack or beautiful, whatever you want to paraphrase it as or phrase it as, it's going to be, it could be egregious or disrespectful or distasteful to someone. And when that happens, like I say, you go back to like last week, that's choice. You choose to dress that way because you like what it brings, good or bad or negative or positive attention. Some people just have to have that attention. So that's that as far as with that.
And so we're gonna wrap up, the sassy men, the zesty sassy men's list by saying, there's 10 valid points on here. Some you can agree with, some you can disagree with. But I just wanted to touch on this because some of these things are so generalized that need to be touched on, because there are things that people saying a zesty or sassy are very important keys to a happy, successful relationship. So that shouldn't make them zesty or sassy to try to make your relationship successful. So, but enough of that. We're going to move on to a little bit of more things we talked about last week. We were talking about School Days and that movie, and we just doing a little fact checking ourselves about Lawrence Fishburne's character in there, because I'm a movie aficionado. I love watching movies, so I hate to give out something from a movie and not knowing a particular fact on it or something I can recap on it. So Lawrence Fishburne's name in the School Day movies was Vaughn Dap Dunlap, and he was, Lawrence Fishburne character was always beefing with Big Brother Almighty. So you know, if you haven't seen School Days,
Watch it.
watch it. You know, it definitely will help you understand what we go through um against our own people and
Within our
against
own community.
within our own community, as far as fighting with issues outside of our community with racism and things of that nature. Well, racism, inner racism and external racism in our community. But it's a great Spike Lee movie. Lawrence Fishburne, Kadeem Hardison, Bill Nunn. You know, it's gonna be a lot of characters. You know, see, but it's gonna give you, you know, a lot of perspective. You got Jasmine Guy, you got Tisha Campbell. It's a great cast, great movie. You know, so, you know, for all generations, I suggest that you watch School Days, and that's Days, Daze. It's a Spike Lee film. You know, it's somewhere back there on the shelf, you know, but it's a great movie. What do you think about that, Dago?
Yeah, I always recommend, just like last week, I recommend going to watch that Spike Lee movie. It made me the HBCU attendee. And once again, shout out to South Carolina State University, the greatest historically black college university or university in the world, established in 1896, as we now know it to be true. Once again, Claflin, thank you for the land grant. But yes, check it out. And if you have a DVD player, we'll rent you the movie. Just put a card on file and 2 forms of ID, and you can come rent movies from us if you have a DVD player.
I got my own small little blockbuster back here. Our second fact check was about the first black baseball player ever. Jordan, I know that was your thing. Talk a little bit about that as well.
So, shout out to Jonathan Britt, who reached out to us in our comment section via our email, cheaperthantherapyshow@gmail.com. He noted that although Moses Fleetwood Walker and his brother Weldy Walker did play before Jackie Robinson, it was actually William Edward White, born October 18th, 1860. He was actually a substitute in one professional baseball game for the Providence Grays of the National League on June the 21st of 1879. This information was provided by Jonathan via the American Baseball Research, or the Society for the American Baseball Research, and it suggests that he had been the first African American to play Major League Baseball, predating the long careers of Moses Fleetwood Walker and his brother Weldy Walker by 5 years, and the therefore mentioned Jackie Robinson by 68 years. Thank you so much for that information, Jonathan. We gladly appreciate it.
Now, piggyback another Black History Month fact. I was just scrolling through Facebook the other day, and we all been children before. We all had toys. I didn't know that Charles Harrison invented the Viewmaster. You remember the little red glad goggles with the film that you clicked through and saw your movies and had a good time? Charles Harrison invented that. Now, I think we all had a Viewmaster growing up, so I thought that was interesting.
That's amazing.
Little fact that, you know, a black man invented the Viewmaster. So, with the Black History facts wrapping up, one thing I did want to talk about is, like I said, I always said I wasn't going to do a lot of celebrity stuff, but, you know, I'm going to mix it up. It's a mixed bag. Rest in peace to Carl Weathers. Carl Weathers, a.k.a. Apollo Creed, a.k.a. Chubbs from Happy Gilmore, a.k.a. Dutch from The Predator. You know, the reason why I don't touch on celebrity stuff is because, you know, there's tons of people doing that. But I also want to talk about people. I grew up watching those movies, and those people, whether good, bad, or different, made me laugh, had an impact in my life. So even if we just sat around and joked about those movies. So rest in peace, Carl Weathers died. They say he died restfully in his sleep. I think at 76 years old. Um, he died peacefully in sleep. We all sat and watched the Rocky movies, Apollo Creed. We watched the new ones now with Michael B. Jordan. For all the Adam Sandler fans, we know Chubbs with the wooden hand from Happy Gilmore that the alligator took his hand, so he took the alligator's eye. But that's one celebrity. Action Jackson. You know what I'm saying? If you ever watch any of those movies, you'll understand what I'm saying. So I just wanted to get that across. Jordan Breeze, you got any comments on Carl Weathers or anything like that?
Just rest in peace, Apollo Creed. I wasn't aware of any other movies other than Rocky and Happy Gilmore, Action Jackson. Other than that, I wasn't aware of that. But rest in peace, Carl Weathers. You were a staple in the black community as far as having positive images on TV. So I do appreciate you for that.
He had a little bit of stint on The Heat of the Night. He did a little stint on Blue Bloods, Law and Order, SVU. So, that's why I say, when he passed, kind of made me feel a certain kind of way because, we got to give flowers to everyone that have influenced our lives in some way, shape, or form. So we're going to, muscle on to the topic of the day. And the topic of the day is Mr. Tyler Perry and his role in black culture via his movies and his shows on BET. Now, for me, and this is just my personal opinion, some of his movies are great. Some of them I have issues with. My biggest issue is some of the content that is on BET right now with shows like All the Queen's Men, the one about the black cult, and I just don't like how, what Sisters and Satima, I just don't like how they portray that black people live their lives full of drama and strife and stress and infidelity. And even though there's some of those people on those shows are successful and have money and whatever, but there's a lot of portrayal of like we just live our lives full of drama, whether we're successful or not. So he has a real big opportunity, having his own movie studio in Atlanta, Georgia, having such an influence on what gets put on BET, which is in essence black entertainment television, but it is also owned by Viacom, which is a company owned by the people from the other skin complexion. But he has a lot of control on what he portrays us to be as African American and black people. So we're not gonna go deep into, the other side when it comes to certain aspects of what we deem to be real inappropriate content. But I think he has a real opportunity to show us in a light, even with the positive light, some of the shows that he showed us as business owners and successful people like lawyers and doctors. But they're very drama filled. Like that's all we got going on is infidelity and murder and things that we shouldn't be doing. So that's why we're talking about it, this to get feedback. And believe me, everybody, I want your comments. Like I said, you got the email cheaperthantherapyshow@gmail.com. You can, even though we're not streaming live on YouTube, you can comment. We can read the comments. I got the cell phone for you to text your comments, 803-509-3477. But I want to know what people think. I talked to family members that watch the shows, All the Queen's Men. I talked to family members that watch The Oval, and they like, yo, is this what they think we are? Like, cause this is it's black entertainment television. Not saying that there's not white shows that we watch that are not filled with this, but at the same time, white people have been controlling the airwaves since the airwaves existed. So, and black people have a negative view of ourselves all across the globe. So he's in a real position to show black people in the utmost positive light. And I'm saying he doesn't do it at all. He tries to do it with saying they're lawyers, they're doctors, they're successful businessmen and businesswomen and business owners, but they're also centered around a lot of drama. And I know drama is a genre that we all watch, but we gotta start showing ourselves in a better light and not just drama. I mean, that's just my opinion. Breezy, I defer to you and tell me what you think.
Well, I'm very critical of Tyler Perry, but that's not what we're here to do. I'm always critical of a person who can use us when it's time to use us, but don't include us when it's time for change. Uh, he's in a business. I will say that he's doing this to make money, not friends. He knows what makes money in this environment. He takes each one of those things and he maxes it out, and I applaud him for that. Yes, he's not out there, you know, stealing from his people, scamming his people. He to me is using some of our downfalls and glorifying those downfalls for it to be successful. And that's just one of those, just a case when it ain't no fun when the rabbit has the gun, because in his profession, he's in it to make money, not friends, and it's very lucrative for him. One other thing that I may add is that he could put us in a lot of more male positive roles, but that's not what makes money. When you look at the reality TV shows, or just a lot of the people who garner that celebrity attention, it is centered around, as what Spike Lee said in a 60 Minutes interview, as coonery or buffoonery. And I wasn't alive for the black exploitation plots, but I did see a lot of those movies growing up with my brothers. Uptown Saturday Night, a lot of those things, outside of Bill Cosby and Sidney Poitier, people who wanted to still be represented are people in a positive light, whether they be pimps or hoes or hustlers. They still represented us in a positive light. With Tyler Perry, I just think it's a case of the rich getting richer. We have been exploited for years in Hollywood. He's exploiting us now. Whether that's good or bad, I know people who he has actually employed. Did you know that Cat, Cat Daddy, right?
Yeah.
Cat Daddy was an extra in one of his shows on BET. Now, it wasn't the BET Plus stuff, but he was an extra in a show. And like I said, I applaud him. I appreciate everything. It's just, like I said, too much is given. Who much is given, much is expected. His people, his following, don't expect for him to show anything else. And Hollywood doesn't demand for him to show us in a positive light, because positivity within our community, it's not what's required. They, like Spike Lee said in a 60 Minutes interview, each artist should be allowed to pursue their artistic endeavors, but I still think there's a lot of stuff out today that is coonery, buffoonery. A lot of our positive work could be highlighted, but yet and still, the shows that you are talking about do have a lot of graphic material, or not. I don't know how to say it. I don't watch it. I've seen my wife watch it, and I don't censor her. I know how to politely get up and walk out of the room when she's watching that. And she knows that if I'm in a situation where I'm occupying that space at that time, she'll watch it either, on, with her headset on, or she'll go in another room. I'm not going to tell her she can't watch it. But as far as, like you stated, he could put us in a more positive light, but he chooses not to. And once again, he's making money, not friends. And those are one of those thin lines that we teeter-tot on. But once again, like always, it comes back to choice. People choose to want to see, situations like he puts people in on TV, and I'm not as I'm not, like I said, I expect more from him, but I understand that Hollywood doesn't want to see a movie about a black astronaut. You know what they want to see? They want to see the black man who fails to, take care of himself. So now he's a male scripper for a madam or a pimp or whatever the case may be, or he's being, in situations that, like I said, I don't watch it enough to comment on it, but for what I've seen as far as like reels and skits when you see them on social media, and for what I've seen walking in and out of rooms with my wife, it could be a whole lot different. Like you said, he has the power to inflict change, and he could, but it's Hollywood. It's lucrative for him. He's trying to make money, and to be quite frankly, he's doing a damn good job doing that. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, and like I said, it's not to bash Tyler Perry, but we're at a point, and me and Breezy and another one of our friends were having a conversation before we did the podcast today, that we are under attack as a people. And people like Tyler Perry, people like Oprah, people like Jay-Z, people like Diddy, they have, not saying we need help, but they have the power to portray us in a better light. Now, maybe they're in fear of having that power stripped from them if they decide to do that. We've seen that happen in society. Yeah, like, we've seen, when I sit here and tell you I watch a lot of podcasts, and I've seen them take Brother Rizza Islam stuff down because of his positive message. But him, Oprah, we don't want their money. We want them to do something positive with their money. And that's really what it boils down to, because BET stands for Black Entertainment Television. Now, we also have to stay in the context that this is entertainment. I agree. And some of it's fictional, but then at the same time, some of them has a factional undertone, that could possibly be fact, because, when you look at some of these characters in these shows, like you take the Oval, you talking about the president's white, his wife is black. But
never watched the show, my dad.
But I've seen bits and pieces. But you're talking about, when you watch the clips, she's involved in all kind of buffoonery as the first lady of the United States, but she's black. I mean, she's sleeping around, she's murdering people, and the show basically said this is all taking place inside the walls of the White House, which we're not even going to really talk about what really goes on in the government, because, I like living. So, but at the same time, when you, a writer, director, have your own studio, Tyler Perry has the ultimate platform when you own your own studio, to do such better things. And maybe he's open to taking suggestions, but, shows like House of Pain and Meet the Browns, they are positive shows, but
those shows aren't positive, man.
In essence,
that boy daddy, what's his name? Clarence, what's his name? The dad.
Uncle Clarence.
Uncle Clarence got the light skinned son?
Well, no,
what's his name? The one that's on Meet the Brown, on the Pain, House of Pain.
Well, Alan Payne is his nephew. The dark skinned one, Lance Gross, is his son. But
who's the father?
You talking about Curtis Payne.
He's stereotypical buffoonery. Like, let's just be honest, man. I don't have an uncle. Well, I lie. I've seen people who act like that, but that's why not go get the educated uncle and put him on a pedestal? Because it doesn't make any money. Those people in Hollywood do not want to see us in a positive light.
Well, I'll put it this way. Like, Curtis was a fire chief in Atlanta. If you watching it, I watch it. He had that positive. He's a retired fire chief. There were episodes that's very serious that touched on different things. So in the beginning, his character was a very positive character, a black male fire chief in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not something that happens a lot. So and then you had his wife Cassie Davis that played Ella on the show. She was your typical religious house mother that took care, cooked, cleaned, did everything.
And that's why I have to stop you again. Like I said, my problem with Tyler Perry, he takes, each show has a plot or whatever the case may be, and he takes women and he always somehow spins them in a positive light. Even with the daughter, who was the in-law or whatever, she was strung out on crack. She got her life back together.
Mm-hmm.
CJ just always seemed to fail. Even when he do what's right, he seems to fail. Like you said, you talk about Curtis. Curtis is a professional, a firefighter. No pimp, no drug dealer, no none of this, that, the third, no ball player. He's a firefighter, everyday Joe. But when it boils down to what gets the reaction out of the crowd, it's the yelling. It's the ooh, the kicking his leg, like the buffoonery. Why can't he just go be like, for instance, Cliff Huxtable did the same exact thing, but he was positive through and through. He was mellow. He was a father. He wasn't someone that we had to use like. What I loved about the Cosby Show, and I'm not getting off subject, what I loved about his show was he could give everyone their own light and have them be respectable.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like to me a lot with his power, he could do so much more. But like, and hindsight is 2020. It doesn't make money. Like, why should he care about impressing or getting on our good side when it's not about that? It's about putting out an image or putting out something that Hollywood's going to say, hey, we want 13 more shows of that. I can guarantee you, if he did a straight positive series, it'll last two seasons.
I think why he should care is, if we go back to the plays, who was the one? We were the people that were going to the plays, the Medea plays. We were the ones buying the movies.
What were you supporting? Look at what you were supporting, buffoonery.
But at the same time, we're trying to support a black man on the rise. So, and I agree, once he got to a certain plateau, he didn't necessarily, you can still have a little bit of buffoonery because people still need to laugh. If you don't make people laugh in a world that is serious as this world that we're in, people have a mental breakdown. So I understand the laughter. When people tell me, I tell people like, what's love got to do with it? It's probably one of the greatest comedies I've ever seen. And people look at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, it's not that I think it's funny for a woman to be beat on, abused, and treated terribly, but it's the reenactment of Lawrence Fishburne as Ike Turner that I found hilarious. So you got to know that fine line between buffoonery and staying real. You got to give people something to laugh at. So that's why Curtis was the comic relief, because Curtis also did a lot of things that Cliff Huxtable did. He allowed, when family members were down and out, he allowed them to come live with him. And
but
every time
he never wrote anyone as a crackhead.
No,
he never wrote anyone as leaving their children behind. And yes, this is what we have endured in America, and this is what it is a part of our culture, unfortunately. But you don't have to shine light on that. Just like I stated, the same people who were supporting the plays with him walking around in a dress are the same people supporting him now. Like I said, my aunt had all of the tapes, not the DVDs, but she had all of the tapes,
the VHS,
and you can go in there any Sunday and watch her and my other aunts gathered around, and they'll be watching it. They've watched it 1,000,000 times. Oh, look at it, this part's coming. And they gravitate towards that. Not saying that my aunts don't gravitate towards positivity, but like I said, like the same people who supported him for being a buffoon are the same ones supporting him now. So if that's what my support is at, and I know Hollywood loves it and they're going to pay me for it, I understand as a human being to change, but he's not thinking like a human being. He's thinking like a successful person in Hollywood. And like I say, like I said, I have mixed reviews about her. I love him. He's a black man. He gives black opportunities. He generates black dollars. If he could, he could run a black community. But at the same point in time, like you said, a lot of the reasoning how I feel like we should be past this. This has been a part of black culture in Hollywood, being that it's Black History Month, since the beginning of black actors, black actresses. We have to go through these things for some strange reason. Me it fair? No. But when you do operate in someone else's game, you have to play by their rules. The rules are not made to be fair. They're made in fairness to the game.
True.
So, like I said, he could be a million things. Tyler Perry could be everything that people always said that they would be. Black people would say they would be if there would be a black president. He has that much power. He's the man. He's the black man of Atlanta. Whether it, however you want to look at it, women, men, whatever. People follow him. I support him, and I say that, like I tell you, I don't agree with everything that he does, but like I say, if I go out there and support him for his positivity, it's like when he does something negative,
you gotta be able to criticize him
exactly.
At the same time.
So.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And like I said, this ain't a bashing session on Tyler Perry. This is more so like, what do we do to uplift our people? And people, I know we're going to get emails and comments and texts like, what are you two guys doing? The conversation is what we're doing. Because, this might resonate with people like, you know what? That does make sense. We're not going to sit here and tear down this black man that has made something of himself, but we're going to ask him, just like we ask of our presidential candidates, what are you going to do with this power? Because being Tyler Perry, being Oprah Winfrey, that's power.
Power.
You got a lot of power to change things. And people are like, well, he just one person. Being a person of color is a power to change in itself. Being a person of color with a platform is another level of power within itself. Being a person of color with a platform and the financial means to change things is probably the ultimate level of power. And do the establishment fear that power? Of course they do. Hence why Minister Farrakhan is not on social media. Hence why Rizza Islam is not on social media. Because the power to influence with the financial power is a highly dangerous combination.
True.
So when people say, well, why y'all just picking on Tyler Perry, is because he's at the forefront. Him and Oprah are right there. They have, and I know 50 Cent is trying to do it now, to open up his own production studio, because his shows are successful, Power and Raising Kanan and all those, and BMF, those are successful. Hence I appreciate what he's doing. He using his platform, like when Taraji broke down and said she's not getting paid enough, she wants to quit acting, and 50 Cent told her, I got you. Come on over here. I'm going to pay you right. I'm going to make you look, and put you in what I got going on. And Tahari has been in a ton of Tyler Perry movies. And people's like, well, that's what she negotiated. But at the same time, we also have to think about, we got bills. So when she was like, oh, well, I got to do this, that, and the third, we got to do what we got to do. So at the same token, you got to do what you got to do. So, like I said, I don't want to beat up on him.
Yeah, we're not gonna beat up on him. And like I said, a lot of the people who are listening know that I'm very critical of Tyler Perry, because to who much is given, much is expected. We give I'm not gonna say we. I know people in not so good positions. They give their all. They give their support. It's just like Roland said. There's a fine line when walking in someone else's grass. He doesn't control that industry. That industry controls him. Not saying it like that, but it is how it is. If they deem his information just like I used to watch RZA and Farrakhan a lot. Along with a lot of other people. When you don't respect someone's grass while walking in it, I have the right to say walk around. And like I can say do not cross in there. And there could be hefty fines and that's basically what it is. I just would say take this into consideration. Robert Townsend, one of the greatest black producers, actors in the world, in my opinion. He made black people the forefront in unity and power, in the forefront of a lot of his productions. And look where he's at today. And that's just you do with that as you may well please. It's just the society we live in. Yes, I expect for him to try to move black people as far ahead as he could, but I do know in retrospect it is a tall task. He remember last week we were talking about having the power to change.
Yes.
He, Oprah, Obama, you have a lot of these people who can get together and demand change, but we have to demand it from ourselves first. When we say we're not going to work today, there'll be people of our color who say we're going to work today. I can't do that. It's just no one's not willing to to make the sacrifice. We look to them to make the sacrifice because of who they are, but at the same point in time, making that sacrifice may not be as beneficial for him as it would be for the little guys like us. So I understand. Tyler Perry, we love you. Keep doing your thing. I don't have to support everything that you are about to want to see you do good. It's just in my heart to want to see someone who has the same skin as me and comes from some of the same situations as me be able to be wealthy and productive and successful at the same time versus our stereotypes. Before we move forward, Roland, how receptive of Tyler Perry would people be of all of his roles in his predominant good screen movies that were about pimps and hoes and hustlers and you know people of the night and things of that such? How successful do you think he would be if that was, because that's a part of Hollywood that gets exploited. I've seen I've seen people exploit it for a long time in the 70s and 80s, and it's lucrative.
I don't think he would be received well at all because it's a different type of exploitation now. Now the exploitation is women's empowerment, angry women's independence. Like when you watch Sisters and Zatima, it's like
True.
they're going to play the man's game. I'm going to sleep around with multiple men. I'm going to cheat, but I'm a powerful black woman. I'm a lawyer. I'm a doctor. I can do whatever these men do.
Exactly.
And it's a different type of exploitation nonetheless. So now women are empowered. So the whole pimps and whores exploitation is deemed degrading and disrespectful, but the overly independent black woman exploitation is seen to be empowering. Now we are empowered women. This is the Me Too movement. We are in control. We can do what men do. That is what's being exploited right now because that's the hot button topic. Me Too. You know, and not saying there's nothing wrong with women being empowered. There's nothing wrong with independent women, but it's almost like to the point where we don't need men for anything. And I'm like, if that's going to be your standpoint, then when your tire goes flat at 3 a.m. on the side of the road,
Well, I'm gonna tell you like
You
this.
better forget my phone number if that's what you're gonna be on.
I'm gonna tell you just like this, Roland. People, and it's not just women, and it's not just independent. So I'm not focusing on independent women, but people tend to be what they're not until they need to be. For instance, a woman can be independent until it's time for a man to be a man.
Agreed.
And like I said, the society and the world that we live in, women, it's for a long time they didn't have the option to be themselves. And however you look at it, women have, they had it hard. I wouldn't say they had it harder than anyone else, aka the black man. Well, not aka, well, I say off topic, the black man. It's just women in general, they have had it hard, and I understand that. But at the same point in time, it's just like you, in a lot of situations, like Roland, I can't wake up today and say I choose to be black until 12:30. I can't do that.
No.
But a woman can be what she wants to be until she's required to be something else, and then turn into that. So, for instance, a woman can be super powerful, super alpha, super strong, and then she'll have a situation where a person will say, well, yeah, she's still a woman. And that's the society we live in. So, like I said, it's always this fine line that we're going to teeter-totter with, and like I said, that's one of them. So, as far as our original topic with Tyler Perry is that what he focuses on, in my opinion, and this is not a reflection of Roland, this is a reflection of me, Jody Breeze. In my opinion, he gives a lot of women a voice who doesn't have a voice. But at the same point in time, when it's time for them to be something else, now, because you have a choice, you can be whatever it is that you want to be. But me and you don't have that luxury. Like I said, I can't decide I don't want to be black at 12:30 today. So it's just, but he focuses on his audience. His audience supports him. They want to see women in those positions, the traditional male perception, being able to do what you want to do, but then at the same time, you expect for someone to treat you a certain way, and you're not. So, six in one hand, half a dozen in the other. That's all I have to say about that movie.
And that's why I say it's just a different type of exploitation, because now we're gonna exploit women's independence, and empower them to be independent, but at the same time, we're telling them why you're independent. Play the game like men. And you can't. You just can't play this game like a man. And I'm not just talking about relationships. I'm talking about life. Because as a black man, we handle life differently. And it's growing where black men and black women are losing their life to the hands of the police. But, we have to play the game a lot more cautious because we lose our lives more frequently. So it's about playing the game of life. And if you're exploiting that these women are so positive and empowered and me too, and you don't need a man, I don't know what happens when that burglar kicks in the door at 2 a.m. Now, yes, women are using firearms. Women are learning to protect themselves. But at the same time, you still asking me to, protect. And that's what I'm supposed to do. There's nothing wrong with that. So, with Tyler Perry, to wrap that up, like I said, we're not bashing him. We're grateful that he is in the position that he's in as a black man, but we do want a little bit more from him. And like he said, it's hard to expect more from him if we don't expect more from ourselves. So hence, that's what this podcast is about, being a little bit more of ourselves as black men, so we can stand in front of him and say, hey, this is what we need from you and the black community, for us to grow. And not saying that you should sacrifice everything you ever worked for to get there, but at some point in time, like I said, You have the platform, you have the power, you have the finances. What are you gonna do with it? You know, because you and I, Jody Breeze, we got a platform. We don't have the finances. We got a platform to try to create change. So that's what we're doing here every week. Try to create change. People gonna agree, people gonna disagree. But that's what change is about. Because you might have a point of view as a viewer that might change my mind for me to change. I might have a point of view as the podcaster to make you change your mind. So, wrapping up, again, we love Tyler Perry. We love his movies. Not all of them. Some of them we agree with. Some of them we don't agree with. Some of them are for purely entertainment purposes, just for a laugh. But when we talking about the positive stuff, when we talking about the shows that have black people in positive, powerful situations, let's make sure we using those platforms to increase our outlook, because around the world black people are looked at in a negative light. So he has the power to push that out there to show us better.
Yeah, give us something positive, black male, non-college degrees. How about that? Give us a plumber, entrepreneur, or something like that.
Cause I know we gotta wrap this up. Like with the show The Oval, like I said, I like the fact that the black first lady is married to a white man, produced by a show by Tyler Perry. I ain't necessarily like, it's kind of foul. But I think back to the show that what was that show with what's the name?
Scandal. Look at that! I already knew what you was talking about. This cause now we're getting back to what I'm saying. This is what Hollywood wants to see.
She was a very positive, powerful black woman. Kerry Washington was, but
same thing with Annalise Keaton on How to Get Away with Murder. A positive black woman. Sleep with this man, slept with that woman, slept with this man, slept with that woman. But they had to throw that in there.
But on Scandal, she's sleeping with the white president.
That's what I said. Like, in real nice, I've never watched Scandal.
I watch it because, again, I know how to separate reality from fiction and entertainment. So if I'm watching it for the pure entertainment of it, like I say, what I said about what's love got to do with it. By no means do I think a man beating a woman is entertainment, but that movie was entertaining for the reenactment of it. Imagine Lawrence Fishburne with a mushroom bob and a choker on slapping a woman. Now, if I go out in the street and see a man slapping a woman, I don't find that funny. But Lawrence Fishburne with a mushroom bob and a choker on with a tight pants onesie on, that's hilarious. I'm sorry. Yes, that was what they wore back in the day, but that was hilarious. But nonetheless,
yeah, to each his own.
Yeah, so we're gonna start wrapping up the show today, because like I said again, if we don't, with this kind of content, we'll be here for another 2 hours. So I'm gonna take it over to Jody Breeze. He's gonna give us some more Black History facts when it comes to the NFL and South Carolina State and JSU, Grambling, Johnson C. Smith, those HBCUs. People, before I let him get into that, we got to support our HBCUs. We got to. For the last few years, you're hearing stories of HBCUs going bankrupt. We got to figure out, and I know, like I said, I listened to Dr. Umar. He talks about how the black bourgeoisie are in charge of the HBCUs and that's why they're failing, because we're asking for a handout from the wrong people. I didn't go to a HBCU, but I didn't go to a 4-year college, but that was because when I went to college later in life. But Jordan, his brothers, all of them went to HBCUs. We got to support those. We got to make those the same level of higher learning institution as the PWIs, as your Harvards, your Stanfords, things of that nature. So, we're in the Southeast. Your NC States, not NC States, North Carolina A&Ts, your Johnson C. Smiths, your South Carolina States. Please support those. Do what you can to support those. If you can send your kids there, and I know I might sound like a hypocrite, I sent my son to Francis Marion because that was his choice. I can't force him to go. I made that, I recommended, a couple of HBCUs, but that's where he wanted to go. I mean, there's nothing I can do about that. That's his student loans. That's his life. But if you can, there's something your child has the inclination to go into a HBCU, be sure to encourage that because it's important. So, but that's just my little soapbox on that. Jordan, give me your facts on the NFL and HBCUs as we wrap this day up.
So with the Super Bowl today, Super Bowl this weekend, just wanted to shine light on a lot of the the things that people don't tell you about. This year we do have a matchup between the Chiefs and the 49ers. My brother's a big 49er fan. Real nice. Who you taking on the game this weekend?
I'm taking Kansas City because I can't bet against Patty Mahomes. I'm as a Dallas Cowboys fan, I hate them San Francisco 49ers. But at the same time, even if I didn't, that Patrick Mahomes is a special player and individual. And when he's out there, it's like, damn.
Yeah. He is that guy. I'm taking the Chiefs as well. I don't like the whole Brock Purdy, Cam Newton thing. That'll be a conversation for another day. Cam Newton spit facts into a lot of people. What I must say is that Brock Purdy is like the 11th best player on his team. But moving forward, we are influential in everything. If it ain't black, it's whack. When it comes to sports, there's no difference. Just want to shine the light on this gentleman by the name of Fritz Pollard. In 1920, he became the first African American player, to play in the NFL during its formative years. He did have a gentleman's agreement. The NFL imposed on a gentleman's agreement to stop them for hiring more black players. It will be another 26 odd years before we were to see that door open up for us. Also, shedding the light, because it is a Super Bowl time, and shedding the light on the NFL, I do want to give you this interesting fact about our people. Did you all know that South Carolina State University is tied with Jackson State University, Grambling State University, and Morgan State University with 4 current NFL Hall of Fame selections? That is huge major, because in the state of South Carolina State leads this state in Hall of Fame selections.
That's what's up.
This is the best of the best. This is top tier. At South Carolina State, which is the best HBCU on the face of this earth, established in 1896 in Orangeburg, South Carolina. Thank you, Claflin, for the loan. I do find it appalling that with all that greatness that we have in Orangeburg, South Carolina, there's no enshrinement to those players, and for some reason those players or their families don't feel the need to give back. Stems off a lot of what you said, Roland. We have to grow these universities. A lot of our talent in the United States that is profitable for everyone else except for ourselves comes through these universities. For instance, Javon Hargrove, he's a South Carolina State alum. He will be in hold up. I think Hargrove plays for San Fran. Yeah, he'll be in the Super Bowl this weekend. We have to shine a light on ourselves, but at the same time, we got to do more than just sign checks. And like I said, because we're walking on someone else's grass, it is a little harder when they tell you have to go around. But I just always figured that as much power and influence and like-minded souls that we have, we could put something together and make change. If it could start with me, it would start with me. But unfortunately, it doesn't. But that was our black facts in sports for today. I do want to follow up with one more thing before I allow you to close out this great show, Roland. Being that it is Black History Month, I would like to shine the spotlight on one Miss Juanita Googins.
And okay, tell me a little bit about Miss Googins.
Googins or either Goggins, I'm not sure. Please, someone correct me if I'm mispronouncing. She was actually the first African American woman elected to the South Carolina legislature in 1974. She was a graduate of, once again, the greatest HBCU on the face of this earth, South Carolina State University, located in Orangeburg, South Carolina, established in 1896 via a land grant from Claflin University. She was one of 10 children of sharecroppers, born in rural Anderson County, South Carolina. She actually went on to get she studied at South Carolina, where she also earned her master's degree at South Carolina. I apologize. Studied at South Carolina State, where she also earned a master's degree and became a teacher in segregated public schools at Rock Hill, South Carolina. That was via Wikipedia. As always, I do encourage you to do your own research. The only way that we can become better is we have to put us first. We have to remember that we must save ourselves as much as our communities before we save the world. That was our interesting black fact for today. And I'm going to turn it back over to Roland. Thank you so much, Real Nice.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks, Dago. So I'm going to wrap up with Roland's real estate tip of the day. And it's a piggyback of a little bit last week when I was talking about knowing what you want and purchasing a home. There's a lot of tips you can do with or without your realtor there. If it is your selections, knowing what size of house you want, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms. By all means, people, take a ride to your options during the daytime and the nighttime. See what's going on in that neighborhood, because the last thing you want to do is spend $200,000-$300,000 on a house and then unhappy with the neighborhood that you're living in. You know, Zillow, Twilla, all those websites do offer crime reports, crime ratings, school ratings, but nothing's more pertinent to getting in your car when it's pitch black at night and driving over. Now, again, as a realtor, legally I can't tell you where to move to, but as a realtor, I can tell you know what you want and know what you don't want. So, you know, that's my real estate tip of the day. Know what you want as far as size of the house, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, knowing what you want when it comes to HOAs, whether you want to deal with it or not, knowing what you want, what your neighborhood to look like during the daytime and the nighttime. Ride by there with your significant other, or if it's just you, and see how you feel at all times. So that is my Roland's real estate tip of the day. And we're going to close. We're going to do this, especially Black History Month and going forward. So people, I encourage you, email me or call me or text me. Sorry, I didn't mean to say call. We're going to shout out to Black-owned businesses, small Black-owned businesses, because we got to help each other grow. So my first business is a young lady I know. This is for the women. I know that people like may say this is Sassy, but this is about helping Black women, Black men business. That's why we're going to do one woman and one man. For real talk. So this is a business owned by Diamond Wings. I know I used to work with her a little bit at I believe Wells or Verizon in Charlotte. When I used to live in Charlotte, she owns Lip and Pour. It's a for God. Well, I'm having a brain fart. I do apologize, Diamond. It is for lip gloss and lipstick. She owns a business up there in Charlotte, North Carolina, where you can go in and make a day of it with your homegirls, where you guys can go in and create and custom your own, your own lip gloss, color lipstick. Just do whatever. She has a website up. I'm gonna put those links in the bio in the description. But her name is Diamond Wings. It's Lip and Pour. Like I said, I'm doing this for people. So by all means, people send me your information to the email address cheaperthantherapyshow@gmail.com or text me at 803-509-3477. So the website is Lip and Pour, and it's LIPN, the letter N, POUR.com. The phone number is 980-292-1002, and it's owned by a great individual. Her name is Diamond Weems, so give a shout out to Lip and Pour. That's something for the women. I know you guys would enjoy that. She does the parties where you go in, make your own lipsticks, make your own lip glosses. Make it a girls' night. We as men, we like to have our men time doing whatever, playing PlayStation, going out, shoot pool, shooting basketball, and we know you women like to have your women time. So like I said, I'm gonna put all the information in the description. Nextly, I'm going to Andre Booker. He owns Ridge Pest Controls, South Carolina. With me being a realtor, I work with Andre on several occasions. He does my termite inspections. Great grant man, big Lakers fan. I follow him on Facebook. He was there for the revealing of the Kobe Bryant statue, so he posted that on social media. Ridge Pest Control. It's based here in Columbia. Phone number is 803-480-4921. Website is ridgepestcontrolsc.com for all your pest control, termite inspections, your realtors. Hit them up. He'll do your CL100s. Just hit them up, and I'm shouting out to these black businesses so we can help them grow, mature, and get to higher levels than they ever been. And that's why I say, what we doing here, all I ask, I don't want no money. All I ask is you subscribe, share, support, like, comment, get to know what we're trying to say here, and know that it's going to be all positive.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan, what businesses you got to shout out for yourself?
For myself, I would like to shout out in Taste We Trust Catering. The information for him is actually for them is actually on their Facebook page. In Taste We Trust. That card will run at the end of our show, and also our other black small business, which is actually approaching their 2-year anniversary, would be Captured Creations, photo booth company. They specialize in 360 photo booths for any and all occasions across South Carolina. They do travel. They do a great job. They're very excellent. They are approaching their 2-year anniversary. Their Facebook tag will roll at the end of the show, but they are Captured Creations with a Z. Creations is spelled with a K. Captured is spelled with a K as well. We will roll that at the end of the show. If you do have any inquiries as far as parties, graduations, anniversaries, Valentine's Day, anything, reach out to them. They are available for quotes anytime. Those are the two companies that we are focusing on today. Like Roland said, our email address is wide open. His phone number is available. Don't call him. Please text him. He's a lovable guy. He may talk to you, but he may not take it with love. He is a very busy man. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to Roland for our closeout.
All right, closing out. Like I said, email address, cheaperthantherapyshow@gmail.com. Phone number 803-509-3477. Let me get all your comments, concerns, emotional outbursts. I'm taking them all. Just make sure it's positive. I know sometimes people get in the chats and try to make negative comments, but as you see, our show today was all positive. Please, if you want this free publicity, this free advertising for your business, shoot me an email, shoot me a text with your information. I'll be more than happy to speak that out. We'll be more than happy because this is how we all grow and get better. Because what I know, what people I may know that got these businesses, they may not know you have it, and then they hear me talk about it, and they be like, okay, I want to do that. I want to take advantage of that. I want to keep that black dollar circulating in the black community. So
got that right.
So again, email is cheaperthantherapyshow@gmail.com. Phone number is 803-509-3477. Call up. I don't know why I keep saying call.
You want somebody to call him? Give him a call. Go ahead, give him a call. He'll talk to you.
Email, text, everything, so that way we can get you on next week's episode. And to kind of give you a highlight of what we're going to talk about this at Madison High School walkout about a new cell phone policy. But I'm not going to touch on that until I read some more. But that's what we're going to start the show with. And we're going to talk some more possibly about black people with influence in the community. But again, we got 4 businesses we gave. We Captured Creations, In Taste We Trust, Ridge Pest Control, and Lip and Pour. So take advantage of Google those, look them up, do whatever you have to do, but support black businesses so they can support you back, because it's so much content. But I was listening to Dr. Umar last night. Love him, hate him. He said that most of your Fortune 500 companies did not get successful and big by taking loans out from the bank. They went to people that looked like them, white people in their community that gave them money, white people that had money. So we as black people, we got to start pumping our money into these businesses, because they do just as good, if not better, than the white companies that we spend with every day. So again, and wrapping up, I want to thank you guys again for another week supporting. Please subscribe. I saw we had like almost 70 views of the last video. It's not going to take much for you to hit the subscribe button when every time you watch a video, subscribe. So that way we know you're really engaged, so that way we can get up there in the algorithm. We can get this out there to as many people as possible. Like, comment, share. We're not asking for nothing else but that. I mean, if you feel like clicking the button is too much, then I don't even know what to say. So in closing, we want to thank you guys for supporting another week. Again, we cutting it off, and we don't want to go 2 hours again. But thank you for another episode and tuning in to the Cheaper Than Therapy Show podcast. Look, like we always say, reach one, teach one.
You reach one, teach one. Y'all have a great one.
You too. Love, guys.